Okay, as you can see, the photo has been loaded into CS4. All of these programs are very well integrated. As soon as you save the image here in CS4, it'll stack it back in Lightroom right next to your original. It's an extremely handy feature, especially if you have hundreds and hundreds of photographs. Having them stacked right next to each other is better than spending hours searching through individual photos. Okay, so this is the image. It has been imported into Lightroom, where I've applied a noise reduction filter only. And now I'm going to apply a few more interesting filters here in Photoshop, and from that we'll import it back into Lightroom, where it will get its final touches and be ready to be added to the list of final photographs. Okay, so the filtering software I use is called Color FX 3.0, and it's made by Nikon, their software department. So I'm going to apply, the first one I'm going to apply is a Pro Contrast filter, and you will see how dramatic the change is immediately. Okay, so there is the original, or that's the one without the filter, and there's the filtered version. It's just fantastic. I can't say enough good things about this software. There are dozens and dozens of filters. Some of them are pretty out there that I would never use, but some of these basic filters, the contrast filters, the tonal filters, some of the color filters are just fantastic. Okay, so I like this. I'm going to go ahead and save that right into the image. Okay, just a note about non-destructive editing. These programs like Photoshop and Lightroom all do non-destructive editing, so you'll notice that the filter I just applied to this image is now a layer of its own stacked on top of the original. So if it ended up being something I didn't like, it would just be a matter of clicking it off, turning it off. If the effect of the filter is too strong for your tastes, all you need to do is change the opacity of the filter, and that changes as well. Okay, I like that the way it is, so I'm going to go put this back where it belongs. This photo is getting there. I'd like to be able to isolate the point of interest a little bit better. I'd like to make it feel like it felt when I was out there. It was cold and it was dark and all that good stuff, and the color felt washed out. And so now we're starting to get to where you feel those textures and things like that. So the next thing I'm going to do is a little bit more advanced editing, but it's a heck of a handy skill to have, and that's applying filter masks. So applying masks. So I'm going to apply a circular mask to the area I feel is the center point. So just stick with me while I do this real quick. Okay. I'm going to apply the filter in the area around the circle. The area within the circle remains unchanged, it's going to give it a real nice vignette effect. Of course, there are other ways to achieve your vignette, but this is the way I like to do it. So I'm going to apply another filter. This one is called Midnight. If it were applied globally to this image, it would overdo it. There'd be way too much. As it is now, I think it's fine. I'm going to go ahead and lower the blur factor just another skosh there, and go ahead and I'm going to apply that filter, and you'll see that it really does provide a nice pleasing effect for the photograph. Okay, so there's good. I'm going to go ahead and clear that selection box so you can see what it looks like. Okay, we're getting closer. This one is only a couple steps away from being done. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and collapse all the layers that I just built and export it as, and just save it actually, and it'll export itself back into Lightroom as a high-resolution TIFF. So let's do that. Collapse, save. And Command W. Now when I bring up Lightroom, you can see that it's stacked right there next to it. It also carried its conventions over. It's also got the 5-star. Now for the images that make it past just the 5-star rating and have been edited in Photoshop to the point where I think they're ready to be seen, I will apply one of these color badges, and for these old abandoned properties they get a red color badge. So I'm just going to kind of look at the full resolution of this one and see what we need to do. yeah, I think it needs to be sharpened a fair amount. You don't want to overdo it with the sharpening, so always under sharpen rather than over sharpen, because we can all see an over sharpened photo like nothing. Okay, so here is the sharpened version, maybe just a little bit more. Okay, and we pull out and it's real nice. Now I think that this is a little too colorless for the feeling that was out there. So I'm going to apply a very subtle vibrance increase here in the adjustments panel. And I just really kind of want that yellow door on the left next to the goalpost to stand out just a little. But I don't want to apply a saturation filter because to me those always look a little bit unnatural. Okay, I think this photo is ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and apply its red badge here. Okay, and now I'm just going to give a quick demonstration of how valuable this tagging system is. So we just edited this image right here. So I'm going to go back to my library. I'm going to go open my folders here. Somehow, there we go. I'm going to go into the abandoned file. Now I have 1,500 photos in here. Okay, you know, somebody wants a picture of something in Kansas somewhere. I don't want to have to necessarily look through 1,500 pictures, so the tagging system is a really, really helpful way to keep track of your stuff. If I am looking for, you know, my five stars with reds, they're just a click away. I mean, you can't beat it. You can turn off the filter system and just see, you know, there's now 1,500 images to look for, and without that tagging system, you're, you know, good luck. Okay, so that's pretty much it. The only thing really left to do is to decide what you want to do with your finished image, which should be here at the end. Okay, there it is actually. It wasn't at the end because it has an earlier file name. Okay, so that's our done image. I like it. That's how you generate an HDR. Now, what you want to do with it after this, you can export it in any number of different ways. I'm just going to export it out to the desktop to give an example of just a quick JPEG, and of course the export dialog here. I'm going to go ahead and just save it to the desktop, no subfolder. I'm going to name it something unique like brush school. Okay, it was Brush Colorado. And here you have any number of different options. The resize to fit, I always do because I don't really like to put out high resolution images out on the web if people haven't paid for them. So I know that's impossible since, you know, it is what it is. So I use 630 pixels for the website, so that's what I'm going to kind of use as my standard. You can add a watermark here. I do my watermarking at my e-commerce Zenfolio page. It just makes it easier. That way, you know, you're not stuck with watermarked images floating out there. And then it's just simple of an export, and you just wait, and it's done. You've now exported. We'll close up Lightroom, and we will see the finished file right there. You'll also notice that the original file is no longer on the desktop. It got moved into its library when I imported it into Lightroom. So that's it. I hope this was helpful in some way, and I'll see you on the next one.